All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. Today, we're exploring how we can break out of those deeply ingrained societal fallacies and undefended beliefs that are secretly limiting our potential. Look, we all want to live a good life, right? One that's filled with peace, meaning, connection. But so often, we find ourselves just completely stuck in these repeating patterns of frustration, anxiety, or dissatisfaction. And what's fascinating about the source material we're looking at today is that it suggests the root of this suffering doesn't actually come from the outside world. Nope, it comes from the invisible frameworks we're using to process that world. I want you to pause for a second and ask yourself honestly, are the beliefs guiding your life truly yours, or were they just kind of absorbed from the world around you? The author of our source text points out a pretty unsettling reality here. From early childhood, we are basically handed a script. We're given rules, expectations, definitions of what success is supposed to look like from our parents, our teachers, society at large. And we internalize these messages, which are often totally contradictory, way before we even have the cognitive ability to question them. So, to understand how we get so trapped, let's dive into Section 1, the invisible box, and take a look at the mental architecture that governs our every move. Consider this really brilliant insight from MMA fighter Melissa Crowden. She says, "No problem can be solved by the same consciousness that created it." It's like we are literally living inside a box of space and time created entirely by our own minds. Everything we think we know about the universe, about relationships, about ourselves, it all depends on the boundaries of that box. If you want to find real solutions to your persistent struggles, you absolutely have to find a way to step outside of your current belief system. So, what is a worldview exactly? Think of it as a mental filter. It's the set of hinges on which all your everyday thinking and doing turns. And the crazy part is, this filter distorts your actual human needs, operating completely under the radar, way below your conscious awareness. It dictates your priorities, it sets your boundaries, and it decides what you perceive as quote-unquote true. The problem is, when your needs are distorted by an unexamined worldview, you lose touch with reality. You start fighting against things that aren't actually there, and you end up missing the incredible opportunities that are sitting right in front of you. Which brings us to Section 2, the trap of societal fallacies. Because it's not just our childhoods keeping us boxed in, it's the culture we live in. You see, there is a stark contrast between constructed truth and objective truth. Constructed truth is simply how society sees the world. It's the idea that you have to grind at a 9-to-5 job for 40 years, buy a house with a white picket fence, and constantly upgrade your car just to keep up with the neighbors. That is a construct. Objective truth, on the other hand, is reality as it actually is, completely free from those arbitrary rules. When we confuse society's constructed truth with objective truth, oh man, that's when we set ourselves up for immense emotional pain and seriously maladaptive behavior. And this naturally leads us to societal fallacies. These are those deeply ingrained misconceptions and flawed assumptions that are kept securely in place by cultural norms. These fallacies are literally the bedrock of our worldview. They take root at the pre-conscious level, which makes them incredibly difficult to identify. In fact, our source notes that analyzing these fallacies in yourself is a bit like trying to perform brain surgery in a mirror. It's tough, and when you finally do start to question them, it can literally feel like the floor is dropping out from under you. Actually, look at these examples cited by the Roman philosopher Cicero centuries ago. It proves humanity just keeps making the exact same psychological mistakes over and over again. We're constantly told that success is a zero-sum game, treating personal gain like a tug-of-war where crushing others is somehow required. Or we waste away in an hourglass of anxiety over things we literally cannot change. We assume something is impossible just because we haven't figured it out yet. Guys, these are not objective truths. They are societal errors that we have just blindly accepted as hard facts. So you might be wondering, why don't we just snap out of it? Well, it's because these false truths are fiercely guarded by the culture. Groupthink forces consensus, basically demanding that we prioritize harmony over independent reasoning. Then you have social contagion, which spreads these beliefs through peer pressure. We basically catch behaviors and anxieties from those around us like a bad cold. And then there's the superior worth theory, which suggests that the very words and language we use restrict our ability to even think outside the norm. The walls of this invisible box, they are incredibly thick. But if our minds are trapped, we need an equally powerful tool to break free. Enter Section 3, the Socratic solution. This is how we shatter the box. To break out of deeply ingrained societal fallacies or undefended personal beliefs, the book recommends the rigorous inquiry method of Socratic questioning. This involves subjecting your own worldview to a strict checklist of questions. It's not just casual, I wonder, pondering. No, it is a systematic, profound examination of the fundamental concepts you use to live your life. It's a method designed to completely separate actual knowledge from mere ignorance and uncover your hidden biases. To actually dismantle the invisible box, we have to audit our own minds. So let's jump to section 4, asking the hard questions, and go over this exact checklist. Question number 1. What evidence supports my beliefs? Like, really think about this. Are you relying on actual, objective facts, or are you just finding information that confirms what you already want to believe? Look, we all suffer from confirmation bias, that tendency to search out data that supports our views while totally ignoring anything that challenges them. Socratic questioning demands that you deliberately seek out opposing evidence and ask yourself if your conclusions are based on reality or just your own personal preference. Next up, what assumptions am I making? You really have to pause and check your foundation here. Are these assumptions valid, or are they just constructed societal fallacies you swallowed whole? We jump to conclusions all the time, based on an unexamined script. By forcing yourself to clearly articulate the assumptions behind your stress or your actions, you completely take away their secret power over you. And then we get to the big one. If my belief is not true, what are the implications? The crucial point here is forcing yourself to face the terrifying, but honestly liberating possibility that you might be completely wrong. What are the consequences of holding on to this belief? And what would happen if you just let it go? Taking this perspective strips away the ego. It lets you look at your worldview totally dispassionately, as a tool that can either be repaired or just completely discarded if it's no longer serving you. Finally, let's turn all of this into action with Section 5, Escaping the Box, by establishing a real daily practice. Our source text outlines a really clear daily practice based on modern applications of this philosophy. Step 1, identify a specific thought that is causing you stress or suffering. Pin it down. Step 2, question it. Ask the Socratic questions. Is this thought actually true? Can I absolutely know for sure that it's true? And then step 3, look at the implications and turn the thought completely around. Find the exact opposite of your stressful thought and look for the truth in that new perspective. By following these steps whenever you feel stuck, you stop reacting blindly to the world and start actively aligning your life with reality. I'm going to leave you with this final, incredibly provocative thought to chew on today. Who would you be without your unexamined beliefs? Just imagine it. How much lighter, freer, and more capable would you be if you finally stopped carrying the heavy burden of society's constructed truths? Because escaping the invisible box by auditing your own mind, that isn't just some intellectual exercise. It is literally the first true step toward discovering your limitless potential and living a genuinely good life.